But now Sarah has one more question. Can she trust the system? How does Sarah know it will be reliable? A nice sales presentation? Easy. A reliable service? Much harder. So how does Sarah know the team will still work together when someone gets sick or leave? Well, it's because more than one person. First, Sarah needs names. One person who owns the output. One main person doing the daily work. One backup who already knows the company. One person keeping the calendar moving. And one senior person Sarah can call if something goes wrong. And this is all just representative. But then the company needs a written guide, the passwords, the brand rules, the calendars, the approved steps, the history, the results. Everything Maya used to carry in her head now belongs to the company. And that's the real product. You're not renting one person, you're buying a system that keeps working when people change. Well, what about the empty square? Look at the empty square in this chart. A fractional provider in this space could sell that time to another client. But the right providers choose not to. And they do this for a smart reason. It's because people get sick, they take vacations, two clients may need help at the same time, someone might leave. If everyone has already been sold, one surprise would hurt everyone. So the empty space is not wasted space. It's what makes the promise believable. And here's the next part. It shouldn't be guesswork. Sarah should not have to guess what good service means. It should be written down, which means how quickly will someone reply? How often will work arrive on time? What happens if the main person leaves? And when will Sarah receive a report? The exact rules may change. The important part is that there are rules. So there has to be a clear contract. The contract should also explain how the relationship begins and how it ends. How long is the first agreement? How much notice does Sarah need to give? Can the provider change the people on the team? What happens when the prices rise? And what happens when Sarah is ready to hire her own department? A good partner should help her train new people and hand everything over. The goal is not to trap Sarah. The goal is to help the company grow. Let's talk about what costs extra. There are some work that will cost extra. A rush project, a live event, travel, another video day, special projects, more work than the monthly shares include. And in every company, that is normal. The benefit is not that everything is free. The benefit is that Sarah knows the prices before she say yes. Well, how does this work in companies where people want to be incentivized? How is the team rewarded? Now, this only works if the people working for the company are properly compensated, if they're properly rewarded. And Sarah should care and ask the provider how they pay their team. That may sound like it's none of her business, but it matters. And let me tell you why. If people make more money by giving the biggest clients all the attention, smaller clients will always come second. The pay system shapes the service. And so to do that, you have to reward the right things. A better system rewards the whole team for doing the basics well. Things like good service, healthy finances, bills collected, clients staying, and records kept up to date. The details can change, but the simple point is this. How a company rewards its people tells Sarah what they will care about when the weeks get hard. And that brings us to the questions most buyers never ask. Can the provider afford to keep these promises? Can the provider survive? So as we get close to the end, let's talk about what makes this viable for providers. A provider that keeps losing money isn't giving good service. Sooner or later, something has to break. And where does that money go? Sarah's fees has to pay for real things. The people doing the work, their benefits, their managers, the software, insurance, and some profit so the provider can stay in business. In this example, about 15 cents from each dollar is left after those costs. 15 cents. That money helps keep the backup people, the extra space, and the service promises in place. Profit is not separate from reliability. It helps pay for reliability. Alternatively, there are companies that buy into the cheap promises. Look at the $2,000 full service promise. The price may be fair if the work is small and clearly limited, but it cannot honestly include everything. Something simply has to give. Maybe senior people aren't included. Maybe there is no backup. Maybe the company has too many clients. Maybe nothing is written down. Or maybe the provider is simply losing money. A low price is not always bad, but a low price with a huge promise is where danger begins. Because at the end of the day, this is still people work. Even the largest marketing companies spend most of their money on people. Software helps them work faster, but people still have to think. They have to choose. People still have to write. They have to create. They have to check. And it's the people who take responsibility. Marketing is still a people business. The tools are simply getting better.